Do y'all already know about Kristi Noem? Like, is this... Okay, if you don't know, she's a politician for now. She's in South Dakota, and she has blown up. I mean, I'm technically late to the story. Like, she blew up on the news and every platform because everyone thought that she was like the front runner to be Trump's VP pick, and she released a book, you know, to just capitalize on that possibility. Was releasing a book around now, and in the book she tells a story about shooting her puppy. I know. And when I first heard about it, because I heard about it before I read about it, when I first heard about it, I was like, nobody's that dumb to just volunteer a story about them doing the one thing that'll bum everybody out across America, no matter what. Yeah, I mean, like, and she's telling the story, and she relays the story like a war story or something. And basically, she shot the dog, and then after she shot the dog, she was walking back to her house. I guess very proud of herself. And then she saw her goat, and she was like, I might as well, you know, because I got more than one bullet in the... And then she kills her goat, and then she told everyone. And I feel like there's a whole thing of politicians being out of touch, right? Like, you know, like sometimes you'll hear about a politician saying something, doing something, you know. Like a good example is like the way that people were during the pandemic, how they would just be like, oh, well, now's the time to dip into our savings. It's like, what are you talking about, hour, right? It's a very out-of-touch thing to say because you as a politician are very rich because every single one of them in Congress, usually at least, engages in some form of insider trading, and very few of them are trying to stop it, you know? So out of touch is one thing. Killing your dog and telling everybody about it. That sounds like somebody that wants to retire but doesn't know how. Like, you know what I mean? Like, political life's a bit much. But when I leave, I want to make sure they don't keep bugging me to come back, you know? I want to make sure when I'm gone, it's for good. Yeah. And she also... She keeps getting banned. There are a lot of reservations in South Dakota, and the leaders of each of these reservations keep voting and passing to ban her from stepping on the reservation, like ban her from the premises, which is like a good portion of the state. Like a lot of... I've never seen somebody get kicked out of outside. Like... Do you know what I mean? Because at a certain point, you just vote for them to get shot into space or something. Like, this is... Because I respect what the Native people were saying, because she was saying a lot about the reservation. She was saying that that's where all of the crime comes from, and that the cartels go through the reservation specifically. And they were like, not only do you not have proof of what you're saying, it's deeply offensive, and you shoot dogs. I don't want you anywhere around my children, my home, or anything. I feel like the only thing to do now is lock her in a room with Biden's dog. And like just for them to talk. You know what I mean? Just so like, you know, he could probably He can probably get through to her better than a human can. Because we already tried talking it out. I feel very blessed to live in this time. You know, I don't know if I lived in any other time if I would have made it. I don't say that in a self-deprecating way. I just I hear stories from my mom, stories from my grandparents, stories from just the past. I watch documentaries and I'm like, sounds rough. Yeah, I mean, and I'm from a rougher time than now because the present is usually better than the past, and it gives you hope for the future and everything. Like I remember when text messages weren't unlimited. I remember when, you know what's crazy? Before text messages were unlimited, there would be a lot of time where I'd want to text somebody. Maybe they were going through something, maybe they were, and I want to text them, but I only had so many. And remember minutes? Remember phone minutes? Okay, if anybody in here is very young, okay, so this is a rough concept to explain because it makes me sound like I'm from when the phone was invented. But for any of the younger people in here, just know that your cell phone, you making all these calls, your phones didn't used to be loose like that. Phones used to be much tighter, okay? Much stingier with time. They basically broke down your phone into minutes, and you had minutes that you could buy. They even broke down the day. Because at first, they charged you for minutes on minutes. Anytime you want to talk for an hour, it was this much you want to talk for. And then eventually, when they realized how to support more phones, they were like, listen, it's 25 cents a minute on your little plan, but everything's free after 5. And back in the day, after 5 o'clock, people's phones would blow up. People would... As soon as it hit 5 o'clock, it's like, I've been waiting to tell you. Like, the amount of times that it was like after 5, and then I got a call that actually was an emergency that I should have been called about at 2, but they didn't want to mess up their plan. So then they were weighing how badly I needed to know. The amount of calls about death I got at 5 p.m. And I'd be like, why do you call me when it happened? He wouldn't be more or less dead if I waited. Why I gotta burn minutes to tell you something that's gonna be true in a couple hours? Oh, it was a terrible time. It was rough. It was really bad. And texting fell under minutes. And so different phone companies had different plans. So for some people, one text was, a quarter of a minute. One text was half a minute. Some people, if they were being very expensive, a text was a whole minute, right? So it could be a very short text. It could be, hey, that's a minute. Which always felt crazy to me as a kid, because I got my first cell phone later than my other friends, because I didn't have money like that. So I had to buy my own cell phone and support it myself with minutes. And I remember I sent a text and it said, hey, and it would tell you how many minutes have been deducted every time you did something. When you get off the phone, it would tell you like that was 4.5 minutes or whatever. And I remember I sent a text message that said, hey, and it said I used a minute. And I was like, no, that wasn't a minute, because hey is hey. Hey, those weren't a minute. That I said hey, I didn't say hey. How is that a minute? How is that a minute? And there was nobody to argue with because this is what killed me. Because sometimes when you try to call customer service to tell them they mess up your minutes and they deducting wrong and everything, it costs minutes to call them. So now I'm on the phone with them like, y'all need to hurry up and pick up because it's minutes. Minutes are happening now. And do these minutes count? They're like, sir, these minutes count because you're on your phone. I'm like, no, but I'm talking to you about fixing my phone. They were like, yeah, but you're on your phone. I was like, oh, I think she's trying to keep me on the phone right now. I think she's trying to burn out all my minutes because then she keep leaving and coming back and leaving and coming. What are you doing? Are you doing errands right now? Why can't you just continue the conversation and answer my question? So she got me burning through minutes. Anyway, text messaging used to sometimes be a whole minute for one text, right? And in a weird way, I wish we could go back to some form of limited text messages. We all get too much. We all get too many. Because this is the other problem with texting that I have now. Now that it's unlimited, people feel like you're obligated to them because they text you because they feel like it's the same as talking. So as soon as they text you, it doesn't matter when they text you, as soon as they text you, that's like them being like, hey. But when you don't say anything for several hours, like if I said hey to you right now and you just stared at me, it'd be rude. It'd be rude. But you're also living your life. You're not obligated to say hey to me because I said hey to you. You're living your life, right? But then you'll text somebody, especially if it's important. You'll text somebody. And then you'll be like, all right, they'll text me when they get to it. I hope it's soon because this is important. And then maybe you're just on your phone. Maybe you open up Instagram or something. And then you see a new post. And then that new post is less than a minute old. I'm like, okay, that's after I text them. So they on their phone. They on their phone. And then most phones, a lot of those iPhones have that red thing that has red. I don't know why people are snitching on themselves like that. That's crazy. Because sometimes people tell me stuff in a text message I don't want to respond to. So then why would I put read by Josh at 6:03 and now it's 7:42 and they know I read it. And it was important. We need to go back. I don't know. Everything's always about more. Sometimes more is too much. What would our lives be like if there was a limit, a built-in limit, where you could only sin? I'll give you even a wide margin, high ceiling. Let's say 200 text messages in a day. I don't think most people even hit that. 200? But if you live in a hectic life, you know what I mean? 200 is a pretty high ceiling. I had friends being like, no, 200 that's way too low. And I was like, do you go to work? What do you mean low? What are y'all talking about? I think it should be like very low. I think it should be like 25. 25 feels reasonable to me because now there are gonna be people who hit you up, who get your number. You don't even know they have a number. They hit you up, and you're like, I'm not gonna waste a text on a who is this? Because that's what I used to do during the minutes, right? You used to get a text, you don't know this number, you're like, who is this? Your phone's like, that was a minute. It's like, no, it wasn't a minute, though. That doesn't take that long to say, who is this? I just said, who is this? And they text me. Shouldn't it call? Every time you explain how tech used to work to a young person, I've said this before, but it just feels like the dark ages. Feels like it feels terrible. Like they would also charge you if somebody texts you, and I'm like, that's not my fault. That's not. I can't control that over there. Because now you double dipping. It should charge the person who sent the text, and then the person, I'm just a listener. I'm a bystander. I wasted 5 minutes one time not knowing somebody. They were like, hey, how you doing? I was like, who is this? And they were like, it's Greg. I was like, I don't know a Greg. And then they were like, oh, sorry, wrong number. 5 minutes. What is my life? Charging me to open it like it's a secret every time. Your phone used to do that. It used to be a phone you could buy at the Dollar Tree, and And then you put like 600 minutes on thinking that's a lot. That's a lot. 600 minutes. That's crazy. I won't get through that. But then the way they rig it, they send a text message. It says it's from mom because mom is saved in my contacts, right? But then, I'm like, damn, can I afford to open it? I'm on my last 3 minutes. Ooh, my last 3 minutes. And it just says mom, and it says unopened. So the phone is coming, like, your mom texted you. You feel like knowing what it's about. What if it's an emergency? What if it's important? Go ahead and open it up. It'll just take a minute.
Dallas, Texas, please make some noise for Josh Johnson!
It is crazy to me that everybody, no matter who you are a different person to everybody that you know. Like, we have the idea in our heads, we understand that we're different to our parents than we are to our friends, than we are to our coworkers. But I mean, like, every single person. Just because of when we meet each other, how we meet each other, what we mean to each other and everything. I have a friend from growing up. His name is Squish. And Squish got his name because he's pretty accident prone. In fact, the way I met Squish was he was walking and this kid was in the cafeteria and he stepped on a pickle. And this kid flew. He stepped on the pickle like he stepped on a Hot Wheel. I didn't know pickles had that type of movement. The pickle didn't even disintegrate. He just stayed on it perfectly, like a roller skate, and couldn't stop himself like a Looney Tune. One leg in the air, one leg on the pickle, and couldn't seem to get off. And he was screaming the whole time. Ah! This man was Janelle Monáeing across the floor in a panic. Ah! And this kid slid into some trash cans hard. And so I run up, some other kids run up, and from then on, he was known as Squish. And Squish is, some of his accidents aren't even his fault. Like, we had a classroom fish. It was floating in the tank, swimming around and everything. And, you know, it was a different person's turn to feed the fish every day. And whoever fed the fish last didn't close the slide in the top of the tank back. And so the fish popped out of the tank, landed on the floor, and was bouncing around a little bit. And Squish just happened to be walking by. And we all screamed. We were like, no! And he was like, what? Squish's number one accident that solidified his nickname and his understanding to us as a clumsy person actually happened on a field trip to Dallas. Yeah, so we were all hanging out, getting some food, because the field trip was like all planned out. We had a thick itinerary, and so we got to have lunch at this Italian place, and Squish got some spaghetti to go as well. And of course, throughout the course of us walking around, he trips and falls on his spaghetti. But he doesn't just trip and fall on the spaghetti. He manages. Normally when you fall on to-go plate, it stays where it is. This kid fell and somehow managed to get all of the spaghetti from his stomach to the top of his head covered in marinara sauce. It was like there was more marinara sauce on him than there was in the to-go plate. And unfortunately, it was a field trip to the book depository. So if you were passing by, all you saw was a kid covered in marinara and spaghetti on his head going, "Help!" I remember when Squish got married. I remember when he had a kid, and I remember when his wife told him, and is wild because when she told, I wish he had been doing a bit or something, just making a cute little joke for the two of them. But she said, "We're pregnant," and without missing a beat, he went. Because now Squish has a kid, and this kid calls him dad. That's wild to me. It's wild that the people that I grew up with are upgrowing people. That feels crazy. That genuinely feels unacceptable. That the people that I grew up with are making new people that don't know what they're like. Because I know these people. This kid calls Squish dad. I'm like, oh, that's not dad, that's Squish. No, you weren't around, but. No. And I'm thinking about it so much because I am older now than my parents were when they had me. And it sort of recontextualized every memory. Because every year that I get older and I'm just going about my life, I think about how they were the age that I am now, but with me. I'll have a bad day and think, oh, this is the worst, and not thinking about how they used to hang out with me, but not when I was like fun. They had to hang out with a version of me that couldn't read. So you're already having a bad day, and now somebody that can't read is making it worse. You picking them up from school, they sitting in the back all, and now you have to try to figure out what's wrong with somebody who can't read. Because they won't tell you, one, because they're a kid and they're being all secretive and everything, but also because they can't read, so they don't even know the words to describe what they're feeling. You gotta do charades to see what's wrong. That's tough. You know, like I think back how my mom, a lot of the moms of the kids that I went to school with, like when you're a parent, I can't imagine being a parent. I cannot imagine being a parent right now, being a kid right now. I feel like I barely did all right with what I had, you know what I mean? When I was growing up, because I have a lot of empathy for the people who are trying to raise a good person, doing your best to just make a good person. And the way I look at it, the way I look at life lessons is a lot like lunch. Because, as the parent, the person who has knowledge, the person who's trying to do what's best for your kid, you can make them the best lunch possible. And when I say the best lunch possible, I mean actually everything that they need. There's vegetables, there's fruits, there's some protein in there. You go ahead, you got the fiber. Everybody forgets the fiber. You gotta get your fiber. You don't want to be full of protein and no fiber. You just be sitting there stuck. You did everything. You got vitamins and minerals in there. You got things to keep them hydrated, give them energy, make sure the bones grow, make sure the brain's healthy. You did everything. And then you send them to school with that lunch. But then it's up to them. Once they're not around you, you don't know. You have no idea. Maybe they're going ahead and they're taking out like the one sweet thing in that lunch, and then they just dump out the rest. I went to school with a girl just like that. She loved lunch. Lunch was her favorite because she was a wheeler dealer. She was a broker at lunch. I've never seen anybody finesse like this before. She would start lunch with one snack pack. She would end it with 16 cookies, and we would all have been had, and we didn't understand how. We all just sit here, no treats, because she had mixed us up so much. She was the only person I've ever seen in my entire life during lunch going ahead and selling cookie futures. She was over here like, I'm good for a snack pack every day, all right? So you give me the cookie now, I'll give you a snack pack tomorrow. Now, that snack pack, you're gonna keep it for a little bit, but he's gonna have M&Ms on Thursday. And she did this every day. Every day she finessed the entire class out of everything. And her parents made her a good lunch, but we're not really trying to hit that celery right now. Not when we got delicious brownies homemade. And after a while, it took some time, but after a while she showed up to school and she had this rash, and she was always tired and stuff. And we found out later that her parents had to take her to, the doctor, and she had scurvy. In the modern age, it is damn near impossible to get scurvy because every day, even by accident, you slipping into vitamin C. You know how many treats you gotta be eating with nothing good to hit the scurvy? This little girl had scurvy, like a Caribbean pirate. Because her parents were doing their best for lunch. They prepared her as best as possible. They gave her everything good. But then when you're around your friends, when you're alone, a parent can't know what's going to happen after that. Like, there's a show on Netflix called Adolescence. And I watched it. And I think it is a very well-made show. Out of all the critiques I've heard about the show, and there are plenty, I have not heard anyone say that the acting isn't phenomenal or that the camera work isn't incredibly interesting, But it's a tough watch, and it's heavy, and it brings up a lot of things I think are important to talk about because it's sparked all these conversations online. It's the most watched English-speaking show in Netflix's history, and there are people being like, oh, finally we're discussing the way that misogyny has creeped in online into every facet of society. And then there are other people being like, no, it's a moral panic. Like, these things are bad, but we're blowing it out of proportion. And so that discussion I do feel like is important. And only one person, there was this one woman I was talking to that was like, it's my favorite show of all time. And I was like, ugh. Favorite all time ever? Did you watch the whole thing and that's your favorite thing you've ever watched? I'm not judging, I'm just saying that's a lot like being like, my favorite place to go is the dentist. It's like, all right, I mean, it's good that you went, but just you telling me that makes you feel good? You love that? You love somebody just playing in your mouth like that? Quizzing you while flossing you? That's your favorite thing? It's just as odd to me. Teach their own. But I do think it's really important that we have these conversations, and it started making me think about my own life, you know? When I was little, I didn't even know what it would mean to have a girlfriend, really. And I only think I thought about girlfriends because adults would like pitch me on the cheek and be like, oh, you so cute, you must have a little girlfriend. You got a little girlfriend? Be like, nah. You're not around the rest of the time. I'm actually quite a lot. But there was someone who I used to eat lunch with for a little while there. And sometimes we'd eat lunch for the whole period of lunch, and sometimes she would just come over, to make sure we chatted before lunch was over. And we would always split my cookie, right? I'd break my cookie in half, and we would chat. And I knew that I got to do every day at school my two favorite things, which was talk to her and eat cookies. And so she'd come over, we'd break bread, cookie bread, we'd break bread and everything. We'd talk about all sorts of stuff. And I didn't know what it would be like to have a girlfriend, but I knew if I was gonna have a girlfriend, it would be her, right? This is who I like talking to. It's who I like spending time with. It's the only person I'll share my cookie with. And one day, I was walking to the monkey bars, get some swings in. It was good to get the shoulders working. And when I got up to those monkey bars, I wasn't right up on them. I was still at a distance, but I saw her kissing a boy. And I was distraught. I saw them kissing. I was like, no! I didn't even think of kissing! Is that what boyfriends and girlfriends do? Hey, we little, so they not even really kissing. They more just butting heads and everything. But even so, I was torn up. I was like, no! We share cookies every day. She'd get my cookie crumbs all on his lips. And I didn't go up to the monkey bars. I went to the little castle that we had on the playground, and man, I cried. I was torn up, And I didn't know what to do in that moment. I didn't know how to fix the way I was feeling, and it felt like I had done something wrong, even though it was just life happening. This person was still someone who I liked very much, but I was like, no, what to kiss? Did the cookie mean nothing? I was so torn up. When we went back to class, I couldn't even learn. Teacher sitting there with a word problem. Simple word problem, trying to get me to hit that 3 + 4, and I was like, 3 kisses plus 4 kisses is one broken man. And I think it's the discussions that are arising because of the show, I think are important because whether it feels like it or not, we are all each other's responsibility. And I think that there's something happening, it's happening to young men, it's happening to boys, where these things online, whether it's, whatever, red pill, manosphere, whatever you want to blame, there's a certain rhetoric that at least fills in some blanks. and tells you this is the way that the world is, this is how you fit into the world. And it's an assuredness that the people around you don't seem to have. Because when that happened, when that kiss happened, you know, when you're a kid, you see things in black and white. You haven't lived long enough to find nuance in between every experience. And so I didn't see that as like, oh, this is my friend, but she happens to like this person or also like this person or like this person more. I internalized all of it. I was like, no, she likes him because I'm ugly. That's gotta be what it is, right? Or she hates me and she likes him. Everything has to be very distinct. And that's tough. I think it's something that we would hopefully be better at recognizing, because it's the same thing that happens to young women. You know? Like when I was a kid, especially when I got to be a teenager and stuff, I was angry. I had all the regular problems. It wasn't like anything extra was happening. But one time an adult sat me down that I was talking to for a long time, and they said something that stuck with me ever since, because I was just telling them how I felt about everything, about how I felt about myself and the world and the people around me, and it all stemmed into this one question. They were like, who taught you to hate yourself? And I couldn't answer it. Because the truth is that I don't know if it's that explicit, and I don't think that it needs to be. When you're young and you're just trying to make your way through the world, I think it's a balance that gets created with the people around you and with yourself, and it's easy to tip, you know? I don't know if anyone was running up to young women specifically making sure that they felt like they were ugly. They just told them that everything that wasn't them around them was beautiful. And so then you have something very similar happening to young boys right now that's coming from all these different directions. And I don't think it should ever be a contest. I know one thing impacts another thing, and there are people that when someone is hurt, they become hurt too as a result. But I think that it's not really about who has it worse when we all have it bad. Sometimes when somebody's going through something and they're open about it, if it's not the person that we decided to band around, right? If it's like a unique person going through something and they're sharing it, sometimes the response, instead of being empathy, is almost backlash, right? They're going through something and they're being open about it, and people are responding with like, oh, boo-hoo, you'll be fine. It's all good, right? But this person is coming to you earnestly, and they're going through something, you know? Like, we don't really, if I'm being honest, we don't really talk about the like body dysmorphia that a lot of men have. There are men packed into gyms trying to look like the action figure. Meanwhile, the action figure doesn't look like a person. Like, that's not, like, your knees aren't supposed to be as big as your head. You're just never gonna get there. That's not how people are built. No one does that. No. And even more than like body dysmorphia in men, the thing that I don't think I hear anybody talking about is strength dysmorphia. I know a lot of men, good men, who have looked at a box or a pool table or a TV and thought to themselves, I could pick it up. We are losing more backs in this country to men's strength dysmorphia than anything else. Strength dysmorphia is the #1 cause of hernias in men. Because then you'll try to help. You'll try to be that person, to be there for them. Be like, hey, wait until we can get some help. Don't do it by yourself. And they'll be like, you don't think I can pick it up? And you're like, it's not about me. Your knees don't think you can pick it up. Your legs don't think you can pick it up. Your back doesn't think you can pick it up. Your glutes don't think you can pick it up. One time I was on a road trip with some friends, and we heard it when the tire popped. We heard it immediately. So we pull over, right? And our friend who was driving, it's his car. He had everything ready to go. Had the spare tire, everything changed the tire, except he forgot the jack. So then our friend Jack says to us with a straight face, all right, everybody just, y'all get in position and everything, get ready to change this stuff, and I'll just pick it up and y'all change, y'all put it back down. I had questions. I was like, pick up what, change what? He was like, no, like y'all pick it up and, start changing, I'll put it back down. It may take us a couple tries, but we'll get there. There are two types of people who can pick up a car. One are strong men. And by strong men, I don't just mean men that are strong. I mean actual competitors, like strong men. All they do is train and work out and lift heavy things. They almost look like the action figure, but they're not quite there because your knees are only gonna get so big, right? But they got very big shoulders, big head, everything, big arms, and they pick up boulders and they put them on top of stuff, and then sometimes they pull trucks. They have the chain and they pull, and you can see that tire moving a little bit. You're like, he is moving it. Wow. You can watch it on ESPN too. That type of man. That man right there, he'll never turn around fast, but he can pick up a car. You touch him on the shoulder, it's gonna be a while before he gets to you. But he could pick up a car, okay? He will never kill a fly. He's not gonna be that quick with it. But if you need a donkey murdered by punching it in the face, he can get that. It's dead. That's one of the type of people that can pick up a car. The second type of person that can pick up a car is a mother whose baby is under the car. And even in that scenario, she can pick up the car because the part of her brain, out of concern for her child, that would normally say, girl, think about your joints, has shut off. It's not like she picks up the car, gets the baby out of the way, and is fine afterward. Her ligaments are shot. But she can do it. So unless, bro, you've been doing some exercises that we haven't seen, or there's a child under the tire that you care about very much, I don't think this is gonna work. And he's like, you don't think I can do it? I was like, it's not about me. Your legs don't think you can do it. Your back doesn't think you can do it. Your glutes don't think you can do it. But he wanted to try. And so everybody got out of the car. Everybody got in a position. One friend was there with the spare tire. Other friend was there getting ready to start unscrewing everything. I didn't have a job, so I just stood there, as a witness to record, And we know that there is a way to work out. We know if you want to lift, there's a way to do it correctly. You're trying to deadlift, try to squat, you get your legs shoulder width apart. You go ahead and make sure your knees stay in line with your feet so you're not buckling one way or the other. You go ahead and put your butt out when you're trying to pick it up. You keep your back neutral, keep your core engaged and everything. You lift it up, make sure your neck is neutral and stuff. We know all of these things. This man got in the weirdest position I've ever seen in my entire life. This man got, so he got under the bumper like, okay. Y'all get it? We were like, no, it didn't move, because it's a car. isn't it? What world are you in? And he's like, oh, you know what? That's my bad. No, I'm doing it wrong. I'm gonna turn around. Turn around. You know that lift that's famous for being much easier, where they go to the Olympics and they put the bar behind them to pick it up. You know, that thing that we've all seen before. This fool turned around, put his back to the car, like, okay. And then he had the nerve to be like, y'all ready? Y'all must have got it that time, right? And we're like, no, it didn't move because it's a car. You can feel yourself not moving it, right? And I knew he was hurt this time because he just wanted to walk off. But he was still in position. He was like, I'm done messing with y'all. Y'all not even serious. I can't believe it. Over here doing my job for me. That's right. Don't apologize. Let them think I earned those extra laughs. No, but the truth of the matter is that you have the same thing happening, you know? We kind of, I'm not saying we figured it out, but we kind of addressed it with the Barbie in theory. And there's something that's like laid out all across the internet. And it's made me think about the question that I was asked: who taught you to hate yourself? And I finally answered it in my own head. It's probably, whoever taught you to hate yourself is probably selling you something. That's all it is. We recognize it. We've learned to see it with women when it comes to makeup, when it comes to a certain fit, all that stuff. But with men, you don't see it called out in that same way. Because trust me, all these dudes, all these manosphere bros, all these red pill dudes, every single one of these guys is also selling a course. Oh, that's curious. I thought we were brothers and you wanted to help me get girls. Why are you selling me? Okay. And some of it, we have to remember, because all of these people, no matter who you're talking about, young boys, young girls, all these people are very young, they're very impressionable, and they're trying to get a sense of the world. And you can fill the lunchbox as best as possible. But one thing that's assured is that all of your best qualities will not just be passed down. I wish it was true. And you can fill that lunchbox with as many good things as possible. But it then is up to them, when they're with their friends, when they're by themselves, to actually look at what's been given to them and not just trade it for a bunch of junk. Because now you have parents who feel like out of nowhere they're meeting a new person, a person that they didn't raise. They hear these things being said that they never taught their kid, and they're like, where did this come from? And some of it, not all of it, but a good portion of it can be blamed on being online. I think it's a mistake to just say that it's online throughout. Just go ahead and throw away the phone. Don't let the kid get on the computer or anything, because the people posting these things are real people out in the world. So those ideas are running rampant in the world anyway. But I do think that it's in how algorithms are built. You know, you show genuine curiosity for one thing, and all they're trying to do as a company is hold your attention, keep you on the platform. So they see you choose one thing, so they send you more of that thing. And so it sends you down a rabbit hole. We always blame ourselves for falling down a rabbit hole, but it is what's served to us after we just watch one thing. You know, you watch one alpaca kick somebody in the chest. And then socials are sure, they're like, this must be his favorite thing. Let's go ahead and keep running them. You know? And I'm blessed that I am who I am. I was born when I was born. I have my own problems, my own worries and everything. The hardest life you're ever gonna have to live is your own, which is why I do my best not to judge anybody, because I think genuinely that if I had been born as them in a different time, I'd probably be just like them. You know, and so I truly believe that one of the it's so funny when somebody tries to start a clap, but y'all aren't like feeling it. It's like I don't say anything for claps, but every once in a while somebody feels moved to clap, but then they realize it's not like a everybody clap. Like, No. I didn't want to, but I didn't. You know. Let me earn it. but the truth is that, like, when it's that easy, I think we have to look at these problems as interlinked, you know, because people talk about incels, they talk about people who've taken the black pill, all that stuff like that. And you got to recognize truly that these like incels, whatever people end up calling them, they don't really hate women. They hate themselves. That's where all that comes from. And I can only imagine if I was a kid now and I came home and I got online and I typed in to Google or any platform, especially social, why would she eat my cookie but then kiss somebody else? I'm in for a world of trouble. I'm immediately, with one prompt, getting into some really bad stuff. Because I bet you, because the people online are not necessarily talking to anyone. They're speaking to their own experiences and broadcasting them, projecting them on other people in every situation. And so if I type that in, I'm not getting back the answer I would get from an adult that's like, hey, look, these things happen. Maybe this person knew that you liked them. Maybe they didn't. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the same thing would have happened either way. I know that's hard to hear, but there are so many people in the world. There's billions of people in the world. There are more people in the world than you can count right now because you're not great at math. That's what, to me, I'm not acting like I'm an expert. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a sociologist. I haven't met every person. I don't know what everyone is going through. But to me, that's the key. That's what solves it. When people are like, what do we do? What do we do? You just stay in each other's lives as much as possible. You know? all of this missing stuff gets filled in by the internet because we aren't there to do it. And I don't just mean parents. I mean like real community. I mean everyone that you know. Do you tell the people in your life that you know that you love them all the time? Do you never let a day go by without the people in your life knowing and feeling like they're loved by you? It just takes you. It only takes you. And so when you have something like that happen, you type it, you come home, you're crying, you're like, ooh, I wish she with the cookie and the kisses. I'm not likely to get someone who's gonna give me a solid answer, an answer I can take to the rest of my life. You know? I'm probably gonna get somebody coming on, big old shoulders, being like, that's right, that's what women do, they take cookies. And best believe, brother, she's coming for your cookie tomorrow. And next time she won't want half, she's gonna want the whole thing. That's why you gotta shut these women down before they get your cookie. If it even gets that specific. I remember I was in college. College was the first time that, like a lot of people, that I was out of the house, and I was really out there by myself. I had to make all new friends. It was good for me though. I had to just get acquainted with a new environment, and I had never been somewhere where it was all up to me. Go to bed whenever you want, do whatever you want, eat whatever you want, right? As long as you're getting good grades, nobody really cares. As long as you're not causing a bunch of havoc, no one's gonna say anything. And I made a friend when I was in college, and we had a conversation one night that was genuinely transformative, because when someone opens up, and I'm not trying to be particular here, but it's true. When someone opens up, especially a man that's never opened up before, what happens next in that moment is crucial. It's incredibly important. Mishandling that moment almost guarantees that not only will the wall go back up, it's gonna have another layer of bricks. It's gonna be even harder to break down. And we just got to talking. I don't even know who shared first, but he told me things. He told me about his anxiety, depression, his feeling, his lack of purpose, all the things that he thought that he was missing in the world, and everything that he thought he was not worth, and things he thought he would never get. And it was all just like coming out so earnestly. And so then I did the same. I told him things. I told him about my anxiety, my depression. I told him about everything that I was going through, how I felt about myself, how I felt about the world, the people around me. Like nothing would really matter if I was here or not, right? And we shared for a while. And then when it was over, we realized like we were the only people we had told these things to. Everything else, we expected to just take to the grave, and we had just told it to each other because there was someone there to listen. And I know sometimes it can happen where like a man opens up to you and you don't know what to do. And so I'll give you one tip. If you really don't know what to say, if things are coming at you and they're things you would have never imagined coming out of this man's mouth, just hit him with a word. It won't fix everything, but it's a good placeholder. Because as men, sometimes word is all we really need. We're like, yep, you get it. See, you get it, you get it. But truly, we shared a lot, and in that moment, we didn't know what to do, so we just hugged it out. And don't get me wrong, it was a manly hug. You know, we tightened our arms around each other and we hit the pats. That's how you hug as a man. You go ahead with the. Watch the end of Top Gun Maverick. Both those men ready to cry, and they still do. I don't know what to do, so I gotta hit it. And it was a long hug because, once again, these are things we thought we would never be able to tell anybody else, and we're holding on to each other tight, and we're patting each other back hard. And I'm not proud of it. But eventually, I did burp. And what happens in the moment that a man opens up to you and you open up to another man is crucial. When I burped, I was like, nah. I'm never opening up again, okay? What I look like? I just poured my soul out and I got burped by my boy? Never. Nah, we not on that. Oh. But I genuinely believe from the bottom of my heart, for every person, no matter how you feel, and some of that feeling is going to be advertisements shooting at you. Oh, you'll just be whole when you have this, when you get this. Someone trying to sell you something, trying to make you feel less so then you can be at least level after they give you their thing. But truly, I hope everyone can really hear this and understand this. If you are in the world, I remember when it was told to me for the first time, it also stuck with me. If you're part of the world, you must be worth the world. And I hope that everybody can feel that way, that you're really worth the world, because you're here. And I think about it because there's a whole new generation of people coming up. They're dealing with something we've never had to deal with before. Like I think of Squish's kid. I was very nervous when Squish became a father because he has dropped everything I've ever seen him hold. He's one of the clumsiest mans. It's insane. But he is kind, and he is generous, and he has a good heart. And it'll be a better world if Squish's kid is like him. I hope that that's possible. I hope he can turn out just like his dad. It'll be a better world. It'll be a more haphazard world. Like it'll be a different type of dangerous, but
Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
I love being in Seattle. It's dope here, feels like if Brooklyn had mountains. Yeah, it's just a more relaxed, seemingly relaxed pace of life here than I'm used to. Because even y'all's, I'm not critiquing, I'm just noticing. Even y'all's crime is at a slower pace. You know what I mean? Like y'all still got crime and everything, but when it happens, it's like, everybody's like, oh yeah, that is illegal. This didn't happen this time, but years ago, I was in Seattle and I saw, it was a very confusing sight. I don't know what I saw, but what it looked like from the outside, looking in Brooklyn to Seattle, what it looked like was this woman's purse had been stolen. But the thief and the woman weren't running. I think that's what confused us all, because we were, like, one of two things was happening, all right? Either a couple had an argument, the man walked away forgetting he had been holding his girlfriend's purse. So he walking off in a huff, and then she following him because maybe she knows whatever she said went a little too far this time. Or a man with very little commitment to his craft stole a woman's purse and then casually walked off. And then a woman who must not care about the purse decided, I'll go get it. It was so confusing because the man was walking, and he was walking like casually. He's just walking, holding the purse, but just walking. And then the woman behind him is like, hey, hey, hey. And then at one point she leaned towards the purse to grab, the strap. And the man was like, huh. That's when I had to reassess the whole situation. Because what if it was not this woman's purse? What if this woman is the lazy thief? What if this man is just trying to have a day out with his purse, and this woman who likes the purse is like, I would like to have that, and I don't plan on paying or running. And they just continue like that down the street. Hey, hey, hey. I watched them do this into the distance. I didn't want to get involved because you ever get involved in an argument and you pick the wrong side, and now you don't know where you stand. You see two people arguing and everything. It's like you try to step in, try to be not necessarily a hero, but just a good Samaritan. Hey, what's the problem here, right? And then you feel like at the end of this thing you should have just left it alone. One time, I was doing a bar show, and we get out of the bar show, and in the parking lot is this couple having this shouting match, and this big old dude and this tiny woman, and he's not moving in a way that's threatening her, but he is like just yelling at her real loud, and she's yelling too, but he's got a booming voice, and she just can't match his level. And they are getting like a little closer. He's still not like bucking up or anything. It's just, if anything, she's walking up to him, I guess to make her point, a little bit more clearly. And so, I don't know, my friends and I saw this, and I just walked over, just being like, hey, y'all good? What's with all this yelling? And admittedly, I was talking to him. This is a big old dude yelling at this tiny woman. And I'm in my head, I'm like, all right, hopefully if I step in, somebody will back me up. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not big enough to stop him, and I don't know the proper techniques, but if I throw myself at him and somebody else is coming, then maybe together we could come up with something to do. And so he's yelling, she's yelling. I'm like, hey, y'all good? Y'all good? What's up? What's up? Calm down, bro. What's up? And then he's like, she poisoned my dog. Because I had everybody looking at me from when I said, I'm going to go say something. And then they heard that part, and then I'm like, I wish I was over there with y'all, because y'all were in the minding your business section. That looks like a better section to be in. And I didn't know what to do, because I don't know what their history is, but if the most recent thing that has happened is the poisoning of the dog, if the only thing that has happened is the poisoning of the dog, I think he might be in the right to raise his voice, to have a little volume, I don't know the condition of the dog. And so he says that to me, and in the moment, they had both stopped yelling. They were both looking at me. And then the people who I left, my friends from the show, were also looking at me. And in my head, I'm like, well, this really shouldn't be on me. That's crazy. I came over to diffuse the situation, and then I became diffused. And so I'm like, hey, what's going on? She poisoned my dog. And then everybody's just staring.
And so I'm looking at my friends, and I turn back to those two, and I go from looking at him to looking at her, and I go, stop it. Nah, I hate picking the wrong side. Nah, it sucks. I've been watching the news, and I can't help but be taken aback what's going on between people and the companies that these people buy from. You know, Target, they know. Believe me. Target has been in more than hot water. They have been boycotted this year because Target, they're an interesting case because they took it upon themselves to try to be, or at least seem, super inclusive of everyone. Now, these companies aren't people. They're trying to make money, and the hope there is that everyone will want to spend their money here if we look like we're for everybody. That's the idea that goes into it. And a lot of people would say that that's just good business. You want to appeal to as many people as possible, so as many people as possible buy your product or products, right? And so they did that. They took it upon themselves to be the place where it's like, look, Target, you can come here, you can get anything. It doesn't matter who you are. We'll make up products just for you. All right? When your month comes around, we're going to make products. We're going to make products that nobody ever made before because nobody asked for. We are going to blow your mind with our products just for you. And they did every year. They managed to blow my mind by making a product that, as a black person, I never knew I didn't want to see. You know, Black History Month would come around, and then they'd hit you with something where you're like, do you know any black people? Every product that Target came up with for black people during Black History Month felt like they came up with it off a rumor. Do you ever, in my head, I'm like, there's no way a black person pitched this thing, you know? It would just be like, it would be like grape flavored. You're groaning like you didn't see it too. Like, it just be like grape flavored root beer or something. It'd be like, hi, I don't know who told you to do this. They would come out with stuff that made you go, okay, well, even if a black person pitched you this, there's no way you're gonna make enough money off of this new product to make it worth it. Like, in my head, I was like, selling this for a month, it doesn't make sense. I think you can have a lot of leftover grape-flavored root beer with nowhere to go. And so Target didn't just do it to, black people. They did it to everybody. All of my friends got a special month at Target that made them go, this is odd. And they never got the response that they wanted. Like, I'm sure Target was like, they'll love this. It's Pride Month, they'll love this. But none, not a single one, not any of my queer friends ever said, we gotta get down to Target. They got that rainbow volleyball. You know that rainbow volleyball that we love, because rainbow is our whole personality. You know how we've never wanted anything unless it was rainbow. People do to queer people with rainbow what they do to, like, black people with products sometimes, where they'll be like, I don't know how to market it to black. Just make it music, I guess.
You know, try to get more black people to, I don't know, eat at Burger King. They're like, what about some drums? You know? And so that's one of the things is that Target, in their efforts, would sometimes still get into like these mini scandals off of people being like, what's the plan here? Some people would be offended sometimes. And then, you know, there's obviously the thing online where people would get mad at the people getting offended. They're offended, the people are offended. And then they take up for Target, kind of, but then they don't even want the product. It's not like they want the product. And so they're taking up for Target because they're like, hey, we like grape flavor root beer over here, right? That never happened. It was always someone like, they made it for you, why are you so offended, right? And then taking up for Target as if they want a rainbow volleyball. Very weird. It's like a very weird investment to get into like a product that nobody is buying. And then Target would try to like sidestep. They try to come up with something else. It would be worse. It'd be so much worse. Next year they're like, we're gonna do right by everybody. This product is gonna kill them. All right, they're gonna love it. Watermelon paper plates. And then they see the article and they're like, okay, maybe that was bad. I don't know, maybe, how was I supposed to know? It's not like any black people are like in the C-suite, so. You know, there was one too that cracked me up. This one genuinely is very funny to me. Like none of them really offended me, but I really couldn't get offended at this one because it was so funny. So basically, Black History Month came around and they had made a bunch of like prominent black leaders, these magnets with a bunch of prominent black leaders on them, and all of the magnets were like labeled to the wrong person. Like it was you could just tell whoever did it that day. Like they were looking at Booker T. Washington, they were like, Muhammad Ali. Like, I just don't know who that product's for. Like personally, I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know who was like, oh, life is good. It's almost perfect. But you know what I don't have? Martin Luther King on my fridge. And sometimes people were more than just offended by these products. Sometimes people felt like that this was like a direct mocking or something, you know? And so then they would boycott Target. And a lot of these previous boycotts, I don't really know how much market value, I don't really know how much stock went down because there wasn't really a unified front on some of these boycotts. I'm sure they hurt, but they didn't make news in how much they hurt, you know? And then in 2020, in the wake of George Floyd's murder, right? Target, like a lot of companies, made pledges. They made pledges. Target pledged somewhere in the neighborhood of like $2 billion to black businesses over time and $100 million to black communities also over time. And yeah, that was you know, you look back at 2020 and you remember 22. You remember what everybody was like, we're gonna stop being racist. Remember that? Remember in 2020, I mean, we were all in our rooms. Everybody was like, who would I even be racist to? They're not here. You know how hard it is to be racist when they're not even here. You know, we're gonna stop it. We're all gonna stop it. Companies pledged to stop it. People pledged to stop it. Everything. And then we got outside and we were like, oh, I remember. This is America. Come on now, we gotta do a little racism. We said it, but come on, we said a lot of things, all right? We said we were gonna learn another language. We didn't do that either. We were inside.
You say crazy stuff when you get cabin fever, like, I'll stop being racist. No. And so then you have the next few years where Target themselves, no one was talking to Target that I know of. Nobody had put a target on Target to like be the great hope of black business. They got involved. They were like, and we'll do $2 billion. But nobody was looking at them that I know of. They just inserted themselves, you know, like an annoying person would. And they made a big pledge. That's a big pledge. Even if you were a multi-billion-dollar company, $2 billion is like a lot. And so you see when Target gets all into all the diversity, all the inclusivity and everything, that's just to try to make money. I hope we can all understand that. And not just because they betrayed the things that they said that they cared about like 5 years ago. I think even when they were saying it, even when it was happening, we were like, okay. I mean, I look at a company making promises about how much its mission cares about people, multi-billion-dollar company. I look at that the way I look at, like, sexting. If you've ever been sexted before, depending on who it is, you've read the message and you've said to yourself, the thing I say to myself when I read the mission statement of a billion-dollar company, you're not gonna do all that. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. And I don't even know where this money was supposed to go or where it started going or if it was just for the press release. I have no idea. But I know that when Trump won, Trump immediately, day one, was like, we're going to get rid of DEI. We're going to get rid of all of these programs. We want everything to be merit-based and fair. So obviously we have to get rid of as many people as possible who earn their position over time. And so that's what he did. He started making moves immediately. And then Target, once again, could have done nothing. That's what's so crazy about the situation Target's in. They could have said nothing. Nobody was checking for the watermelon paper plates. In fact, if a Black History Month went by and Target didn't make a new product, we probably would have thought, wow, good on you. Y'all really have learned from your ways. Y'all really a regular store now. You're not trying to help or anything. You're not throwing out, you know, Malcolm X, but it's Michael Jackson. Y'all are just being a regular store where I can go buy regular paper plates. You know, they didn't have to say anything, but then Target came out once again, inserting themselves like an annoying person would, and being like, hey, we're getting rid of DEI too. People were like, oh, okay. Once again, no one was talking to you. And look, these are moves that are made for money. That's what they always were. Even when I heard about those pledges from Target, it didn't make me go, oh, Target, you care about me? I was like, all right, yeah, I guess the next time I'm on my way home, I need one of those, like, toothpick things. You know, the thing that's like floss, but it has a handle. I guess if I need one of those and Target is on the way home, maybe I'll buy it at Target. That's as much as it moved me. But just because I didn't have a business and I didn't really know what this pledge meant, so it didn't like change my mind about Target. I don't care about Target enough for my mind to be changed. I just went on about my life. And then whenever they made this statement of like, we're getting rid of all of our DEI too, I was like, guys, I still don't care about you. Like, you can't move me one way or the other. There are other stores on the way home. But people who either were pledged that money or have been watching Target to make sure they kept their word, they noticed that statement. And they noticed that it's pretty convenient to get all the social capital out of making a pledge, a $2 billion pledge and a $100 million pledge that you haven't had to come up good on. And now you're going to end it just in time to not really have to get into it. That's very convenient. And so then there were people who called him up on it. They were like, all right, look, a pledge is a pledge. You can label it however you want, but you said publicly that you would be donating this money. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to boycott. We're going to boycott Target. And then this Target boycott started. And a lot of people poo-pooed it initially. A lot of people were like, Target gets boycotted all the time. Didn't you hear about the grape-flavored root beer? But this thing was different, and there's a lot of numbers in it. There's a lot of numbers to the tune of $100 million to more than $2 billion. This thing takes off, like really takes off. And admittedly, I found out about it late. I did. I'll tell you right now. I found out about the Target boycott very, very late. And I don't mean very, very late as in yesterday. I found out about it when I was in Target. I was in Target. And then there was somebody also in Target leaned over to me and was like, hey, we don't shop here right now. You got to see this from my perspective real quick. From my perspective, I had gone into a store. Into a store. I'm not thinking about his Target. I went into a store to get what I needed to get. And then while shopping, I was approached by someone who was like, we don't shop here right now. You know how perplexing that is? So many things were going through my head at one time, because the first thing is like, we don't shop here right now. In my head, I'm like, all right, do you work at like Walmart or something? Like, do you? What's your deal, right? Then I had another thought. I was like, okay, all right. We don't shop here right now. But you're in here. I said, but you're in here. And they were like, I'm in here to let people know we don't shop here right now. And I was like, oh, interesting. And effective, like I wasn't aware. It's just so funny to have somebody in the store to let people know we don't shop at the store. It just feels like the most, it's just the most like, what's it called? It's the most civility I've seen in what must feel like to the store, robbing the store. Because I put that, like in my hand, I had the toothpick with the handle, and I was like, oh, I already had it in my hand, but I guess I can put it back. And then I walked out, and that's money that they didn't make. It's like that thing is effective. And so I didn't buy the toothpick thing. I left, right? And in my head, I left, but I was also like, all right, that thing was like $6. So I guess they didn't get my $6, but hopefully they really needed it. Hopefully that $6. I love when a company who's done something bad need the money bad. Like, you know, like when somebody needs the money bad, they're like, hey, look, brother, look.
'Look. 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 '
And so, I left. I went to CVS. To my knowledge, they hadn't done anything, so felt like a safe place to get the toothpicks. I've had something in between my teeth the entire day, so I need it desperately. Even when the man was telling me we don't shop here right now, he was like, ooh, you got... And so I left. And wasn't really sure what would come of it. And then on the way home, I'd see Target and be like, yeah, whatever. I'll make it to CVS. It's 2 more blocks. Really not knowing, because a boycott now is different than a boycott from the past. A boycott from the past, you had to. It was imperative that you used your body and your voice to be there in real time. You had to go there. You had to go out. You had to pick it outside of the store to let people know how you felt about the store. And the numbers that you had, it sort of dictated the narrative, because they couldn't run. They had newspapers that they could maybe run some ads in or try to create a narrative, but nobody could argue with what they saw with their own eyes. Not yet. It wasn't present day. Because now, if you want to boycott, you have options. You have options you never had in the past. You can be there with your voice, with your body, right? Or you could be online organizing a different picket line, organizing a different room full of people in agreement with you, outrage at this company, you think they've done something wrong. And it doesn't even have to be a worthy cause. Truly, that's what's crazy about it. It's like, it's the same as it's always been, but there's just different avenues to do those same things. So now you have the benefit. Instead of needing to fly everyone who cares about this thing and thinks this thing to the same space that you're in right now to be in a picket line with you, so you can show the company that hundreds, maybe even thousands of people feel this way, you can just be online. These companies, they're trying to be just like us. They're trying to act and behave like people. They want you to think of them as a person, which is why they do things to try to ingratiate themselves to you like a person would. They make pledges of things they'll do, things that maybe would ingratiate you to them and feel like they're your friend. They're not your friend, they're a corporation. But you can use the fact that they want to seem like a person to you to let them know how you feel about them. That's access that has never happened until now, And so you get all of these people doing it at one time, and it does have a compound effect. Because it's not as visible as it was in 50s, 60s, 70s, I think we sometimes lose a little bit of hope and a little bit of understanding of what a boycott can do or what a protest can do, because it seems like these companies have so much money that they can never be brought back down. But that's just not true. You look at Target from then to now, and I know market valuations go up and down. I know they fluctuate. Things are not set in stone just because they go bad for a while. But them going bad for a while is a wake-up call to the company. And people boycotted Target, even up until present day. I don't know when it'll be over, to be honest with you. I really don't know when I can go in Target again. And I'm not thirsty to go in Target again. I'm just like, it's on the way home, and I just have to keep reminding myself, like, no, we not, no, right? But Target has lost more than it promised. Target's lost more than $100 million, and has lost more than the $2 billion that it pledged. By the most recent estimate that I saw, and it could be different on a different day, it could be different in this moment, but Target, through this boycott, has lost somewhere in the neighborhood of $12.4 billion in market value. And it's because of people boycotting. I think a boycott is also difficult to wrap your head around sometimes because it's not doing something. You know what I mean? It's not, you aren't. It's not like when you go and protest, you went and you protested, and now your throat is sore, your feet tired. But a boycott is like, don't. Like like y'all are doing it right now. Like y'all are boycotting Target right now. You just don't go. Because I'm like chronically online, sometimes people get upset about stuff, and I don't get it, because it's not my thing to be upset about. Like it's not, maybe it's not my culture, or I don't have the connection to it that other people have. So, you know, I don't necessarily take all outrage seriously, but when people are upset, I try to hear them out to a point. Doesn't mean I'm gonna agree, but I'm like, let's see why this is such a big deal. And I didn't know about the attack on culture that's been happening this week. I didn't realize how bad things are out here. I didn't know. Admittedly, I didn't know. I looked into it as soon as I did. I had no idea the impact of changing the Cracker Barrel logo. I didn't know what this would do to people. Now, if you're sitting there wondering, what is Cracker Barrel? If you were sitting there wondering, what is Cracker Barrel? You've lived a good life. If you're sitting there wondering what Cracker Barrel is, you are doing perfectly fine. But just to bring you up to speed, it is a restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, and they have a side that is restaurant. They have a side that's like little gift shop, knickknacks and stuff. It's very cute. I grew up in the South, so I grew up with Cracker Barrel, right? And Cracker Barrel, they look. Listen to me, all right? Sometimes something happens, and everyone is so reactionary now that like they don't form their opinion authentically. I saw this and I didn't care. And when you don't care, you're able to be at least a little bit closer to objective, right? So I saw what was happening. They changed the Cracker Barrel logo. If you've never seen the Cracker Barrel logo, get ready. As far as logos go, it does the job. It says Cracker Barrel, and then there's a barrel. And then there's a guy next to the barrel, right? And the guy next to the barrel posted up. The guy next to the barrel is out here feeling himself. He's over here like... And the new logo says Cracker Barrel with really nothing else, or really like just two ovals around it. It is objectively worse. I understand that the people upset are making it about something that I at least don't think it's about, right? Because there were people that saw them get rid of the guy and the barrel, and then they were like, this. The first impression was of someone who had a stroke over it. But people genuinely were like, this is insane. This can't stand. This is white genocide. Listen to me. I'm no expert, and I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. But I'm pretty sure that just as many white people are alive after they changed the logo.
as there were before the logo change. And any people who have sadly passed was incidental. I don't think it had anything to do with the Cracker Barrel logo change specifically. And look, I don't know who this dude was to the, like, I don't know if somebody just drew him or if that's like the founder. I don't know, because admittedly I didn't care enough to get into it. But all I know is that look, I'm not on their side as far as everything they're saying, but this is a worse logo. Like, it just is. They basically did the Washington football team to white people. They just up there saying what it is and not giving us anything else. Nah, it's rough. It really, that's bad. Especially with that guy, that was, I don't know. Y'all did it. It said Cracker Barrel, and then there was the barrel, and then there was the... the guy. Y'all being rude, not me. And so, yeah, Cracker Barrel was facing immense backlash, threats of a boycott. They done with Cracker Barrel over here. And admittedly, look, if we're talking business for a second, just business, it is kind of wild that the CEO said something to the effect, this is what I've read, the CEO said something to the effect of, MAGA doesn't have to eat here, we'll respect their decision not to, right? So they got directly called out. They got directly called out by this CEO. I don't even know what prompted it. I don't know what the question was that led to that answer. But I will say, look, we talking business, from business. Remember, business. I'm gonna throw it out there, and I could be wrong. I love being wrong. I could be wrong, but I do think they were the only ones eating there. So, like, that would be like the dude at the Red Hat Company being like, we don't need MAGA. It's like, unless there's a new baseball team, I think you might. No, it was truly wild. And now MAGA's had a insane backlash. Look, I don't know what's bots and what's actually people upset. All I know is I've seen a lot of tweets. A lot of tweets being like, I can't believe, look at these. You know what's funny too? It's like sometimes people get mad at you and they start describing you in their anger. And it doesn't sound as bad as they think it sounds, but because it's what they're mad at you about, it sounds bad. I saw this one tweet that was like, look at this woman. She single-handedly tanked Cracker Barrel stock because she wanted to be a woke girl boss. She wanted to put her whole life into her career, and then she rose to the level of CEO. Only to tank the company, though. She tanked the company. And yes, she's a young CEO, but she tanked the company. I'm just like, as you list the thing, like as I was reading the tweet, I was like, I mean, outside of like 8 of these words, this is a good LinkedIn profile. That's why it almost felt like a bot, because it was like complimentary and angry at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, after her departure from this company, she came to Cracker Barrel, where she quickly rose through the ranks, only to tank the company, but quickly rose through the ranks. Okay. No.
And like, that's the other thing that's frustrating about being online right now is like, because so many people are not clear with the joke they're trying to make, I don't know what is a joke as far as like the remodel and redesign of Cracker Barrel, because that's also what's happening. They changed the logo, but changing the logo is what companies do when they're just floating something. They're just throwing the idea out there to sort of test the market reaction. Maybe they've already actually changed the logo, but it's very easy for a company to tweet out from the company account, what do y'all think about this logo? And do your market research that way. It's simple enough. But they said that not only were they changing the logo, they were going to remodel and redesign 500 locations, is at least what I read. And I saw a picture of the redesign. Look, I already wasn't eating at Cracker Barrel, so it's really like no stress to me. But for those that love Cracker Barrel, I was a little stressed out for them because they really trying to modernize it, I guess. And the reactions to it were interesting. The reactions to it, it blew my mind a little bit. Because there were people genuinely being like, this is an erasure of American culture, and it is an erasure of white culture, like white heritage and everything. And like, I've been to a Cracker Barrel, and yes, it's very white, but like, I'm not even saying Cracker Barrel is bad. I'm just saying like, I'm trying to like figure out how to word this. Like, it's like, if you want to just talk about like white culture, like if you're concerned with like white heritage, it's just Cracker Barrel should be so low on that, you know what I mean? I've grown up around white people. I've known white people my whole life, and very few have ever mentioned Cracker Barrel when it wasn't at the next exit. Like, I didn't know it meant this much to white people. That's ignorant of me. I am sorry to be walking around in America of all places, not knowing how important this was to your heritage and culture. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for anybody, but I feel like even white people read that and were like, me? No, I've had Cracker Barrel because, you know, I've been on the road, and I've always had it when it was like the last stop. It was like you either eat now, because they know where to put the Cracker Barrel. You either eat now, or you wait 35 minutes until the saddest McDonald's. You know what I mean? It's either like, look, you either have a burger or some pancakes, or you wait 35 minutes to be poisoned. You can decide. You can either have a little too much syrup on your pancakes, or, you know, have the Snickers flavored hemlock. It just makes me mad. They're not even trying to be food anymore. They're like, no, we put the fryer is in the floor now. Like, we just... It doesn't change. It does not change. I have a friend he's sweet. He's a good person. He's a very good person. But he is like gross. That's just a fact. I'm not being mean. I've told him to his face. And he has before, you know, eaten in his car to the point of not knowing that he had like a wrapper in his car, and to the point of like maybe not finishing his meal in the car, going inside, and to the point of having an old burger in his car for quite a while. And a McDonald's burger, to be fair, not just picking on McDonald's here, any burger left out for long, for days, for road trips will smell. My problem is a McDonald's burger left in your car for a month. Stop smelling. Food. Food is supposed to go through a process. Whatever that food is, it could be fruits, it could be vegetables, it could be meats, right? It could be everything except like maybe seeds are supposed to go through a change. They get to a point where they're growing, they get to a point where they're ripe. Even if it's meat, you get to a point where the animal is killed, the animal is prepared, and then the meat is there to be eaten. Even with processed food, the process is usually to extend the shelf life of the food, but there's still a time to eat it and a time to not. And the fact that McDonald's goes through the process, like the burger goes through the process, they actually, I think, kill a cow. They actually, I assume, make a burger. And then they actually sell it to you. And then maybe you get two, and then you only have time to eat one. And then maybe it falls off the passenger seat, and then it slides back because you were making a sharp left turn because you don't know how to drive. So you change lanes last minute when you're on the highway like a lunatic who's trying to get killed, who's trying to be injured in a car accident. And so you swerve, and then that swerve slides the burger under the seat, and you go about your life. You get home, you go to work the next day, you come home, you go to work the next day, you come home, and you do start to smell something. But because you're gross, you're not going to do anything about it. You just sort of know that you smell it. You're aware that there is a smell. You just are thinking about it sometimes like, never mind. That's the thought process of someone who is nasty. Because it's in your car, it's here. And you recognize it from before, from the last time you went, probably not a big deal. Probably not worth addressing. And then you wait. You wait until a friend, a good friend, a person who is not nasty, person named Josh gets in your car because you offered them a ride. And when you take one of your famous left turns and almost hit the car in front of you, you slam on the brake. And when you slam on the brake, something slides to the front of the something hits poor Josh's foot. Josh, being inquisitive, looks down and sees a fully wrapped McDonald's burger, and reaches down, and there's a feeling in the burger. A little tough. And then I'm like, oh, your burger fell. And then you disgusting freak, you go, what burger? And I'm like, this burger. And then I hold up the burger, and then you go, I haven't had McDonald's in weeks. And then Josh goes, oh. It's either that or Cracker Barrel, okay? And look, a part of me understands where people are coming from. Part of me understands that some people hate change. Some people love the nostalgia of going to Cracker Barrel. Some people they like it as a restaurant and they would prefer it stay the same. That's actually pretty normal. I even get upset sometimes when a grocery store that I like switches up the aisles a little bit. They're like, actually, we figured that the noodles should go over with the pasta. We had broken it up by ethnicity of the foods, and then we were worried that looked bad. So then we just put every noodle-shaped thing together, the noodles, the pasta, even just long sticks, they all on the same aisle right now because we're one people. We don't want to break people off and make people be like, ooh, you not as good, you gotta go further in the store and to aisle 8 because you like this sort of noodle. We just put everything in one. Even then, even when that's their reason, I'm like, ugh, why'd you have to change it? I knew where it was. Now I gotta be in here longer. And so I get people who are like, I just don't like it. I don't get people who are like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. That always ends up, I don't know, people always end up telling on themselves in that regard. If this is the worst thing that's ever happened to you, that a company you don't own changed their logo that you only looked at when you went. I don't know who loves Cracker Barrel enough to have the logo in a frame and kiss that picture every night before bed. I don't know what sort of Cracker Barrel freaks are out there. But yeah, the backlash has been stiff. It was swift, it happened quickly. They announced this change and then they lost, apparently, $100 million in market value. I didn't know there were that many people to be upset about Cracker Barrel in dollars. I don't know if Cracker Barrel could afford that. The knickknacks are only like $2, so. No, they're in hot water right now. You just never think of the word valuation when you think of Cracker Barrel. Do you know what I mean? Like if Cracker Barrel, if they had been talking about Cracker Barrel on like Wolf of Wall Street, it would have been because the main character was smoking crack out of a barrel. You know what I mean? Wild to me that people are this upset. And I don't know, that's what I find interesting about like boycotts and protests sometimes, is that it just needs to be intentional to be effective, you know? And it could happen to any company. They forget that all the time, that it could happen to any of them, you know? But it just doesn't happen often enough. You know, they've consolidated to a point, they've built up monopolies to a point where if you're gonna participate, you have to buy from one of them or some of them some of the time. And that's the situation we find ourselves in, you know? And then it's nice when you get a little glimmer of hope when people decide to, you know, vote with their dollar and say, if this is how you feel about me, Target, then nah, then no. And then, while you may not be Target's #1 customer, you may not be a Target head. Them not getting your $3.50, them not getting your $26.42, them not getting your $100, them not getting your $5, them not getting your $3, them not getting your $485 you're moving, them not getting all manner of money from you starts to equal up to about $100 million. And because of the system that we live in, you know,
very few of us, and I say us as in all of America, will have that much money to move. That is a very minute part of the entire population that has that amount of money to move, but together we have that much money to move. You know? And because these companies are not people, because people you can reason with, people can understand something that is based in logic, you know? But companies don't. Companies only understand gains and losses. And so the only way to make them understand is to make them lose. And make them lose so much that it hurts, and it really hurts. And then maybe when it really hurts, they'll make a change, not because better people are there, not because they fired a CEO and then hired a better person as a CEO. I don't know that many CEOs, but I imagine at a certain point, they have a similar outlook on the company and a similar outlook on the employees. I think that because of the system that we've built, when it comes to corporations, you're gonna find very few compassionate CEOs or just incredibly reasonable people who wanna do what's best for the customer. That might be what they say, but what the company does is different. And so I think that inside of all of that, you make the company hurt until someone comes along and maybe their background is in accounting, maybe they're a sociologist, who knows, maybe they started in PR, but they know we have to reverse course or else the hurt will continue. And then you get what you want. You get what you boycotted for, what you protested for. These things are still possible, and it is simple, it is not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time. We are at an advantage. We're at an advantage that the people in the 50s, 60s, and 70s weren't at, because we don't need to be there all the time with our body using our specific voice. We can organize online. We can organize in person as well. We can build community around a cause. And then we can exact that cause to the tune of $100 million, you know? And then when that thing happens, maybe the next company will go, but you know what happened to Target.
Mira.